Hello, welcome back to the L1 show. Today's October 19th, and we're doing business and social links for you to share with your friends.
Now, the new Microsoft Surfaces are out. I thought that one of these stories was going to be sort of like a roundup. It was not.
Yeah.
But the new Surfaces are out. They're not wildly different than the previous generation. However, there are two standout things about them that we must alert you.
Microsoft Surface Studio 2 Plus ships with an RTX 3060 for $42.99. So we should alert you that that is not a good deal.
Just FYI, if you're like, oh, I should spend $4,000.
There's actually two versions of the Surface Studio, one that's x86 based and one that's ARM. I would love to get my hands on the ARM one to do some experiments, but I ain't paying that. Are you crazy? Forget that.
This is an 11 series. For the x86, it's an 11 series Intel. And
are we on 13 now?
The 4060, and what you get like a terabyte of storage, I think. The battery life is a little lower, I think.
Well, no, the studios are desktop, so like that's the older, yeah. So
No, I'm talking about the
new
Surface, yeah.
laptops, yeah.
But there is one thing on this year's Surface that you will not get on either model, and they are following a trend.
Microsoft Surface Pro 9 is the latest major gadget to ditch the headphone jack.
I don't
Microsoft
like that.
has joined Apple, Dell, and other tech giants slowly phasing out the 3.5mm connector. You know what's frustrating is I got a really nice set of noise canceling Bose headphones for Christmas right before the global situation, because it was like, oh, you travel a lot, these would be really handy.
Joke, yeah, you're not traveling anymore.
And the Bluetooth standard that those support is way different than I got another set of cheap Bluetooth headphones from somebody else, and that was like 3 or 4 months ago. And that set of headphones, the Bluetooth is infinitely better than the Bose, but the Bose also has like an analog input, which of course sounds really good, and so it's super frustrating. I get why they're dropping the headphone. It's like Bluetooth is finally less trash, but it's really frustrating that,
But the cost is so negligible, and they point out that these are not that much smaller than the previous generation.
Yeah.
There's room for it. Yeah. So
why?
because they want to sell wireless headphones. That's why. Oh. Can you imagine if a company just killed a product in order to sell more of another product?
That sounds like planned obsolescence.
How disgusting would that be?
Google kills cloud gaming service, announces cloud gaming laptops. So Stadia is going away. Actually, it's been fun because we've had a lot of YouTube comments on videos that we've had years old where we make a joke about Stadia. They've got to be using the closed caption search somehow. Where it's like, oh yeah, Stadia will be gone, blah, blah, blah. We actually predicted it pretty good. We thought it would make it another like 6 months to a year.
You know what? We didn't count the Ukraine war into that.
Yeah.
That changed
It's
it.
hard to know.
Yeah.
In my Steam Deck review, I also said that I thought that Valve would partner with Stadia because that would be pretty cool on a Steam Deck, but that's too late now.
Also, the impending financial collapse. Really, there's a lot of things going into everyone's getting a little skittish here in the business section.
So there's nothing special about these. These are Chromebooks.
With GPUs,
And
which is unusual.
yeah, but they're all using the cloud, so it's not, the
Yeah.
GPU doesn't matter that much.
Well, it's better than the normal GPU that's in a Chromebook, which can't even manage 60 FPS on whatever the native resolution of the LCD is.
So the big thing about it is they come pre-installed with Luna and NVIDIA's thing, and is it Microsoft's thing?
Yeah.
So, like any other computer in the world could also do that. Just do it that way.
Or you could use Crouton and then just install Steam and stream from your own stuff.
What does this cat have to do with this?
I wouldn't trust him with any of that. He barely knows how to use the litter box. Well, PayPal, they had a rough week.
Yeah.
I was really, really happy to see the world mobilize against them to the tune that they did.
Yeah.
And oh boy, was it effective.
PayPal pulls back, says it won't fine customers $2,500 for misinformation after backlash.
Which means that they're going to try to push it through and everyone's forgotten about it in like 2 months.
Yeah, PayPal is very quickly becoming one of the most hated brands. I think if PayPal were more well-liked, Venmo would have been basically impossible to get any traction.
They got a big history of screwing their customers.
Yeah.
So it didn't help that they already had a lot of bad feelings. Now, their excuse, so if you don't know, PayPal put this in the terms of service. If they don't like anything that you say, if it's misinformation, they're going to fine you $2,500 per misinformation event. They said it was accidental that got in the terms of service. They
No.
didn't mean to put that in there.
We were just going to quietly do that and not tell anybody that we updated it.
And so, of course, the people immediately responded, it's like, well, do you not have your lawyers review your terms of service when you update it? Is anybody getting fired over this?
The lawyers thought it was a great idea because it's more money. Like, how else are we going to squeeze our customers?
Last week, we had a big block of layoffs, business closings, and bad news. Intel waited a week to announce it.
Reuters says that Intel plans to cut thousands of jobs as they've been hit by the PC slowdown, according to Bloomberg News. Now, Reuters doesn't actually have a lot of details. Intel's being pretty tight-lipped. It sounds like marketing and some other areas are going to, be hard hit. But
They have over 100,000 employees. So 1% of their employees would still be a huge number.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Google and Apple and all the big players, the smaller fish are constantly nibbling at them, especially when it comes to the whole litigation thing.
Epic Games and Match look to expand their antitrust claims against Google. This has to do with the payment terms, the store, the exclusivity of the Google Play Store, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. They want outside payments. And Google says no.
And Match is really well set up to be able to handle all that. And yet, here we are.
Well, gosh, did we predict this one? Because I feel like I would have.
We sure did, yeah.
You remember CNN Plus?
Remember Beam?
What happened to that? What happened to CNN Plus? Have you seen CNN's ratings lately? Well,
I wish we had a Jamie to roll the clip because it would be amazing.
They are not doing well.
CNN accused of rug pull as it abandons its NFT project. This is amazing. Where's the SEC investigation? I want the SEC investigation. How is this not trading as security? If you're going to harass the Bored Ape guy, why aren't you harassing CNN?
It's funny because, so the idea here was when major news events happen, you can buy the NFT. So if some sports player has the best game of their life, you can be like, oh my God, I need that NFT. I want to be the owner of that CNN reporting of course, any other news organization could also report it. You don't own that. But now they're yanking that out of the way. And some of the people who were commenting were like, how could you do this to us? I was so ready to buy the January 6th NFT.
I want the William Shatner kidney stone NFT.
They
Oh, you want the one where he goes to space?
I got a story about that, and it's sad. They claim the details were a little fuzzy, but they claim they're going to take some kind of stable coin or something and give you that value back in stable coin. But I can't imagine that's going to go smoothly.
It's almost like all this crap is a scam.
Yeah. Well, also, you know, the NFT industry is down 97%.
Right.
So hey, thanks. Give me this useless stablecoin NFT stuff, whatever. But the cryptocurrency industry is still out there. It's still a thing. And the big players still want to be a part of it.
Google selects Coinbase to take cloud payments with cryptocurrencies and will use its custody tool. Well, I mean, what other choice was there? Coinbase or PayPal? Because PayPal got into crypto?
Yeah.
But you're going to get into bed with PayPal? I don't think Google's smarter than that.
Most of the other exchanges are just slowly dying one by
Right.
one.
Yeah.
The exchange was predicated on the meteoric rise in value of the coins that they had on the platform. And when that didn't happen, it's like, oops, got to close the platform.
And if you recall, cryptocurrency was supposed to be this big liberating factor that's like, oh, make payments anywhere. Go outside the control of governments. And Mastercard is here to tell us why that is slowly being eroded to the point that, yeah, it's just going to be the same players. And they're going to decide who can play and who can't.
Mastercard's new solution to make crypto purchases safer. Let me just sum it up for you. You don't even have to read the article, although you should, because you can be horrified at what they're saying here, because they don't come right out and say it, but they do say it. We're going to build an open graph of everybody that's connected to everybody else using your purchasing and consumer data, going back to the beginning of Mastercard as a company. And then when you buy crypto, we'll have a pretty good idea of whether or not it's you or it's a scam. Now, what happens after the crypto after that? We don't care. That's your responsibility. If it gets stolen, we don't really care.
That's not all of it, because stuff like Binance, you know, for example, who you have these crypto exchanges, which are a little risky these days. They get the big hack or they get somebody who runs off with it. Mastercard says they're going to protect you from that by giving each one a score. And if the score is too low, they won't let you do business with them. In other words, if you do misinformation, they'll charge you $2,500. I mean, it's the same kind of control, right?
Mastercard is literally going to pick the winners and losers by controlling your money.
Which is what they do now.
No, man, you just don't get it. NFTs are going to be revolutionary. You just don't understand.
Don't you guys feel like streaming and cryptocurrency have followed the same circular path of revolutionary? It's changed everything. The big players get into it. It's back to where we were in the first place.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it all goes.
Hopefully it's not going to be that way with lithium production.
Yeah. And, big battery. Now we worry about big oil now. Coming up, big battery.
Honda's new 4.4 billion EV battery plant will be built in Ohio. This is an article that talks about that and the stuff that goes into that. This article leaves out the comment from the World Economic Forum this week that said, where are you going to get the lithium for that?
We're just going to wish for it.
Why do you think NASA was trying to stop asteroids and
You think
meteors?
it was filled with lithium? It was a gift from the aliens.
Yeah.
Send them some lithium. They need it.
Elon Musk is like, good news. I've got this giant asteroid that's pure lithium. It's coming straight for us. And it's like,
We may have to risk a few lives to stop it, but I am willing to do that.
That wasn't exactly what the World Economic Forum said, but they did say, we've done the math. And if we need to do, if we need this much fossil fuel reduction, we need this many electric vehicles and also nuclear power plants, I guess. And that means we're going to need this much lithium, and something doesn't add up here.
No, they're going to move us all into the line city of meow, and then we won't need vehicles.
Or just exterminate most of us. Then there's plenty. Well, it's not too often that we see the walled gardens exchanging things with one another. I guess it's good.
New Apple services and apps are rolling out on Windows 11 and Xbox. Apple's new vertical growth market has been marked.
Seems like a weird choice to be on the Microsoft platform, but choose to use Apple TV and music. I guess Apple TV does have exclusives, though, right?
Yeah.
So you could do that.
No, I totally could see. This probably is a result of Apple TV and other devices inventorying your network, and Apple looking at the data internally and saying, we see Microsoft MAC addresses on the internal network. A lot of people that have an Apple TV have an Xbox. Okay, we'll build an app and take over whatever it is Xbox does, and then that'll be our next vertical.
Yeah, I could see Apple someday getting into the console gaming.
Yeah.
For sure.
They tried it a few years ago, more than a few, and it did not work out for them. But they'll be back, and in greater numbers.
Just like Microsoft is back, they tried to convince us that the subscription plan was the only way to do business. Now, they did backtrack on that eventually because people hated it, but this tells us that they are still on track for trying to get that eventually.
Microsoft Office will become Microsoft 365 in major brand overhaul. They're sort of blurring the lines between what's your operating system and what's your Office suite and what's OneDrive and Teams. You need all that, right? Gosh, Teams has been a hot pile of garbage with document synchronization this week.
It's kind of garbage all the time, constantly.
Yeah.
They keep adding features that I don't need.
I like that it has that predictive text thing now. Sometimes I like to see how far you can take it before it finally runs out of things to say.
Don't you feel a little bit insulted if it's somebody you don't know, though?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a kind of a dismissive response.
Oh, yeah.
Passive aggressive thumbs up.
Thumbs up makes you go and click on the activity tab as well to clear the blink. Which
That's
is like,
by default. You can turn it off so it doesn't do that.
Oh,
but,
can you?
Yeah.
I guess they got a lot
But
of
it's hidden
complaints.
away in the options.
Well, cloud centers, boy, they're all of a sudden like, oh, maybe we don't have, do we have to pay for all this stuff? And we got to pay for all this electricity? Wow, that's getting expensive. Let's try to make it better.
Intel and Google Cloud launch a new chip to improve data center performance. It's another computer to compute things before it goes into your main computer to save the amount of computing that your main computer has to do, because this is a little computer.
Mostly to do with networking. Getting
I'd love to get my
in and
hands on
out.
one to play with, but we'll see.
You don't have a data center.
Downstairs, there's data center of one.
And Starlink might not be over Ukraine much longer, but they are moving into a new country.
Starlink now available in Japan, confirms SpaceX.
I think this is, you might be able to deploy the individual stations, but this is the more commercial one. Some of their existing wireless services, rural wireless, are going to use Starlink to fill the gaps, which is cool. I bet China doesn't like that.
I really think that Jeff Bezos is probably looking at all the Musk headlines and it's like, oh, if only my Kuiper satellites were in orbit, I could just swoop in and be the hero and be like, here's your Kuiper terminals. You don't need SpaceX. And it's just
He's too busy ruining Lord of the Rings right now. So
his priorities were
You're going to get savaged. It's Kuiper.
Kuiper. Yeah, whatever.
You think is Bezos, has he mentally just like washed his non-existence hair of the rings yet, or is that weighing on him?
I don't know. So pre-show when they did the premiere, he was like, I gave them notes and they ignored all of them. So that kind of feels a little bit like he's like pushing the responsibility away, but I don't know.
But he was still a big decision maker about who to hire and stuff, right?
Yeah. It was a pet project for him.
And they said it had to succeed, and it doesn't seem like it's succeeding.
Not to the metrics I think that they were setting is in terms of making it like a cultural event. Certainly not.
But they are still built. I'm sorry.
No. It's, I think they are obsessing with that rather than actually running the business.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's more fun, right?
Yeah.
But they are still building the empire, and over in Europe, they're buying some new trucks.
Amazon.com to invest over 1 billion euros in European electric van and truck fleet. Because at the end of the day, you got to have your Prime Day toilet paper.
I don't think. Do you guys get things same day? We don't ever do that.
I get
anymore.
one day.
We very briefly were starting to get things like next day, and that has all been out the window the last couple of years.
I just got a one day yesterday.
Really?
It was successful. Yeah.
We never ever.
Yeah, I'm between two small cities, and you're just
I'm just out. In the, we have a post office.
orbiting. Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal. It's a Dollar General and a post office.
Oh, there's a Dollar General near my house too. Dollar Generals are everywhere. Well, it's a bad time to be selling like kind of anything, right? Probably are the luxury goods still doing really well in the downturn?
If anything has taught me, if Civ has taught me anything, they always want luxury goods.
Microsoft Ignite was this week, and data center sales is still doing really good.
In 2008, I remember like Ferraris and Lamborghinis had record years because for whatever reason, the ultra rich.
They were just capturing all the liquidity.
I don't know. I guess. I wonder if this has to do with the same thing because I would describe these as unnecessary luxury items. No one should buy them.
PC shipments are still on the decline, unless you're Apple. Cupertino managed to buck the trend with a year-on-year growth of 40%.
40%.
That seems obscene.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Did they have a terrible year last year or something else? But yeah, everybody else slightly down. Of course, everybody bought new hardware during the pandemic, right? Because you're stuck at home and makes sense. And the time is finally here. The release date on this was 2018, and then it was 2019, then it was 2021, and finally, maybe.
Musk says Tesla's electric semi-truck has started production. The company expects to make its first deliveries in December, Pepsi being the recipient. Oh man, I can't wait for the... I got to find all the Pepsi employees and follow them on Twitter.
Pepsi is... they placed that order in 2017.
You think they're happy that it took this long?
I wonder if Musk pulled that crap that he has with Cybertruck, where it's like, well, we've still got your pre-order in for Cybertruck, but now it's twice as expensive.
Yeah, inflation. If they didn't, they're going to lose their shirts, right?
Yeah.
And Netflix is the latest company to sort of give in to the fact that all their customers are poor now, and they don't have as much money to spend every week or every month on their subscriptions.
Netflix will charge $6.99 a month for a new ad-supported plan starting November 3rd in the U.S. I don't know if this will stem the tide of subscriber hemorrhage, though.
15 to 30-second ads. There will be one at the beginning. They will be interspersed through it. Expect to have 5 minutes per hour. Ads.
That's better than cable TV's 20 minutes per hour.
But we're just heading there.
Yeah.
Like they're getting away with 5 now, but in like 2 years we're gonna be up to 10.
Oh, you know what we should do? We should build a level 1 hardware ad blocker that just explains how to use a capture PC And when you're watching Netflix and an ad comes on, you just get a blue screen and a tone like.
Or you could use a DVR and like start it and then have a timer for 5 minutes, and you start watching after 5 minutes, and you're not watching it live, but you're just watching the no commercial live version, so it can roll right over them.
It does kind of ruin watch-alongs a little bit.
Oh
There's
yeah, you
ads
mentioned that the Ring show.
Yeah, so people were angry about that because like 14 minutes in, it played an unskippable like 2-minute ad.
I would not want my product to be that ad, would you? I feel
No.
like people are just angry all of a sudden, and they're looking at Nabisco products.
Yeah,
Like, no, I don't want that.
Some people said you could skip it if you hit it like right at the start. I wonder if that was a mistake and they removed that since then, but like at the premiere, people were upset.
Did you get one?
I wasn't watching it.
Oh, I'm sorry. How dare I suggest that?
I ain't supporting that. I would support the YouTube channel I was watching, but
Also, $6.99, $1 less than Disney Plus. So that was very much on purpose.
But Netflix's catalog is not
That's
as
good.
valuable as
Yeah.
Disney's. Because Disney owns everything now. Remember the I can't remember the villain from Marvel.
there's so many. Which one?
The Jules guy. It was Disney.
Oh, Thanos.
Thanos, yeah. And it's like, I've got Fox, and I've got, that was all the jewels, and it was Mickey Mouse, and it's like, because now they own everything.
It's amazing to me that people defend that too.
Well, you pointed out that we made a really good prediction about Stadia and its untimely death. I'm going to go ahead and make one about this. What do you think? 6 months?
6 months, maybe.
Let's call it 6 months.
Who is this for?
Google is serious about its giant video chat booths. It starts real world testing. Just as soon as this launches and whoever made it gets a promotion, it's shutting down.
My question, like, they're already struggling selling stuff like VR because people don't have space for it in their homes. Why would you ever think that this would do well?
Look at how many things there are in this.
I was at a place that had Cisco's video conferencing solution. And gosh, this has probably been like 10 years ago. And it was imagine an oval conference table cut in half with one half shoved up against a wall. And then where the rest of the conference table would have been were two giant TVs. And on the other side of that was the other half of the conference table. And so it was like you looked through the TVs like they were windows to a conference room somewhere else. And that was the audio was good and the video was really good. And that was this like 10 years ago. And that was really well done with less equipment.
I can't imagine who would want this.
Yeah.
Big tech companies are the only companies who would want this, right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe some of the big Fortune 500 companies are like, oh, we need that. Because when we meet with people, they'll be like, oh, they've got the Google thing. They'll be impressed. They'll take us seriously. But I was just thinking, these guys are idiots. Why do they do that?
Just in this sad gray room.
Yeah. I literally had a thing where it's like, this is how this is. And it's like, no, I think it's this way. And it's like, okay, here's a random website that says the same thing. Okay, thanks.
Well, we can't go a week without a big Overwatch headline. People are upset once again. I believe that the DDoS is over. The phone number verification is turned off. Did they fix the people not getting their
Cosmetics.
carryovers?
Their carrier that's still broken, I think.
Oh, still broken.
And then the other night they took the servers off abruptly for like an hour, I think. There's a lot of different
Maybe-
things happen.
Maybe they did that to work on the crossplay.
Crossplay tension simmers. Overwatch 2 controller players discover aim assist is disabled against PC. A lot of people weren't happy when they did crossplay in Overwatch 1.
Well, it turns out the only way you can crossplay, you'll never get matched.
Right.
You have to bring a PC player has to bring the filthy console player in with them.
Right. It's being grouped.
But while you are in that group, you will get no auto aim.
Which
Interesting.
Kind of fair, I guess, right?
I guess, but though it is kind of like a little bit weird because wouldn't you get that muscle memory of knowing how to play with your character, and then you kind of lose that if you're playing with a rando.
I think in a lot of ways what they're doing is they're saying to the PC player, hey, get better friends.
Steam Deck update for me. I'm still struggling to use the controller properly. It's really disappointing.
I can't use controllers very
Was
well.
it something about the form factor or
No,
just
it's
your
just my
ability?
brain is just not working correctly.
I'll get a controller today and use it for SnowRunner.
I've got a mouse hooked up to the Steam Deck, and that's actually a lot of fun. Just holding it with one hand and then using a mouse.
What a pointless.
I'm imagining you on an airplane to, like, on the little tiny tray that like folds out.
I had to modify some things to get it to work the way that I wanted, but it's fine. I mean, I'm not awful with the controller. Some games are fine, but in some games I can't.
That's like buying a pickup truck and then also adding a trailer to it, but never putting anything in the bed.
Yeah. But I think it's a me thing because it's like, oh, look at that. My neuroelasticity is just gone, and I had no idea.
It's the tick.
Yeah.
The tick got it. He's somewhere like a super intelligent tick.
He's building computers out of like scrap meth labs.
He's organizing the other ticks. Well, I didn't understand this one at all. I didn't know that TikTok had these kind of plans, but I guess if you got all the money in the world, right? If you're the
makes
big
sense to me.
dog, why not?
TikTok chases Amazon with plans for U.S. fulfillment centers. I got the idea from this, probably not true, but I get the idea that TikTok was going to be a distribution center for like one of those everything under $1 stores or everything under $5, where it's all just junk.
Yeah. So I don't know how much of it's on TikTok. I've certainly seen it on YouTube, and I'm sure it's the same, but like people will do hauls where it's like cheap Chinese crap, and then people will be like, look at all this stuff I bought, and then they put it on TikTok. So that's probably so that way they can get the money from TikTok, but also get money from TikTok supported platform.
It probably will be that, but what they're chasing there is that Chinese trend of people using social media to become like sellers of products.
Yeah.
And then when you do
Influencer.
that, you don't have to, like right now, you might be clicking away from TikTok and going to Amazon.
Yeah.
They don't want that at all. Just click and we'll take care of everything for you. We'll deliver the product and we'll take 50%. Don't worry about that.
Well, also the commerce and social part of it as well is a big factor here. So like you see your favorite person on TikTok with something and it's like, oh yeah, I could buy that. And then you just hit a button and so like if you got Nike shoes or something and it's like, oh, buy this. And it's all
Instagram
handled.
does that. They have a whole shopping tab. So yeah, this is actually a rare instance where TikTok is stealing from someone else.
I mean, if I were scrolling through TikTok and I saw the poster with Worf, the Star Trek poster with Worf that says, my batleth kills all the threats to Picard, and he's like, you're better than Yar, I would definitely, and it was like $10, I would totally order that as a poster.
And then TikTok would have all your stuff.
That's definitely the use case they're going for.
No, I mean, it is. It really is. It's like,
I mean, maybe not the Star Trek part, but everything else there, perfect.
you see somebody with a meme t-shirt. It's like, yes, I must have the meme t-shirt.
But it's not what they're going for because you're, as a sane person, basing your purchase on the item. They're looking for people to base purchases on the seller.
Well, that's going to happen.
What if William Shatner was selling you a terrible product? Or Patrick Stewart?
If it made me chuckle, I mean, maybe.
I mean, Patrick Stewart's in Picard, so
What
he
if,
is kind of selling you a terrible product.
what if Patrick Stewart was trying to sell you some adult diapers or diabetic testing supplies?
Like Wilford Brimley? I mean,
Sure.
you know, if you had Wilford Brimley trying to sell you, it's like, this is the Wilford Brimley Memorial Diabetic Testing Kit. I mean, that would.
Every time you prick your finger, it's his voice reading the number and giving you a comment about, it's like, you got some good levels today. Have a cookie.
Don't have a cookie.
Y'all might want to go to an emergency room. I can't do it, Wilford Brimley. I'm sorry. Well, I think the timing on this one is just like, I can't imagine anybody at Google likes this man. Why would you do this just right before the election? Are they thinking that he'll like stick his foot in his mouth and shoot himself by people seeing it? I don't know.
Digital World Acquisition Corp shares jump after Google Play Store approves Trump's Truth Social.
Is it purely just money? Like, that's probably the more likely scenario, right?
They said it was to do with content moderation.
Do you pay for that app? Would Google be getting anything there?
No, it was to do with like hate speech and moderation, supposedly.
Was this like 1 year since the suspension? Is that why the timing?
Has it been that long? Good Lord. I thought it'd been like 3 months. I thought it'd been kind of rocky. And then they launched and then they were like, oh, we need to block this.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's bizarre. But it's there. People are still saying that entity's probably going to fail because they haven't been making any money. And Mark Zuckerberg, boy, has everybody started to doubt him. I think even the last big names that were holding out, like Tim Cook, who were actually in on the same kind of thing, are now saying, yeah, we're not so sure about this metaverse. But apparently His robot mind loves that.
Mark Zuckerberg says that he enjoys being doubted because what else could he say?
I suck.
I
I
mean,
stole the idea from Facebook, and I can't come up with anything original that isn't stupid.
I'm crippled by self-doubt, but I'm gonna say that I enjoy it.
so what if he's Tom from MySpace and just doesn't realize it yet?
No,
Well,
don't put that evil on Tom.
on a on a long enough timeline, he has to be, right? Like, they're never in the history of any kind of, well, I don't know, I guess Microsoft has been going for pretty long.
But here's the thing, like with Tom from MySpace, that example, he cashed out and was like, I'm out. I'm done. I don't know if his pride will allow that.
And Mark copied his product.
Yeah.
So there is no existing metaverse for him to steal from. He's building it from the ground up, and it's terrible.
I can't wait to cover the leg story.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
the whole social media block is basically, metaverse and stuff like that. And he does have a little bit of good news, I guess, because some more names are coming on board.
Microsoft has partnered with Meta to bring Teams, Office, Windows, and Xbox to VR. Help us.
I can't wait till we have to do a VR
Yeah.
meeting with a client.
You know what's better than a Teams call? VR Teams call.
I did an official company function via VR during the thing because the event was canceled, and it was like, we're gonna have this thing and there's a company that makes a product, and it was like, all right, we'll meet virtually, and it was virtual avatars, and I guess it worked.
What device did you use for that?
Just keyboard and mouse monitor.
That's not VR.
It was what do you call a simulated environment?
POV? I don't know.
Yeah, POV, simulated
I'm
environment.
imagining like what if people made really crazy characters like GTA characters where they have like crazy color hair and like bruises and cuts and stuff, and it's like, all right, welcome to the meeting.
Yeah, it was like virtual avatar stuff.
Yeah.
Chris, have you seen any of the young people that work in tech?
I work in the art community, so I'm used to the weird looks, but I don't know that corporate America is ready for that.
Well, if you are ready for the metaverse, there's a new way to get there.
The Meta Quest Pro costs $1,500 and ships October 25th. Also, we should have had the rant in here from John Carmack.
Oh, he doesn't like VR.
No, he just doesn't like it. He thinks it's a software and expectations problem. Also, the initial reports from people using the HoloLens is that it made the soldiers violently ill.
Oh, I think we do have that story. I hope we did. I meant to put it in there.
You remember me under the desk when we revisited Half-Life? It's like that.
Yeah.
Times 100.
We both got sick. You were like severely ill, and I was like, man, I don't feel good.
But Half-Life was originally a 4-3 game, right?
Yeah.
So
It was something with the FOV.
yeah.
We had to change it, and then it was okay, but we didn't realize that.
So the new Meta headset, it's better in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's lighter, but less battery life, which is interesting. And it now has the full camera pass-through AR stuff.
Oh, and it also takes lots of pictures of your face, which can be used for ads.
Yeah, well, we'll have another story about that. But more importantly, you can't have the metaverse. Like, the one big thing that everybody was always knocking him on, other than it being pointless and no one likes it, is the leg thing. So now we have legs.
Meta announces legs.
But wait.
They dance.
The Facebook's leg video was a lie. Yeah.
It was
just
motion captured.
Just simulation. Now, I would like to announce the Ministry of Silly Walks in VR.
We've already established that that's how you escape the Chinese gait recognition cameras. And all these big tech companies are constantly trying to branch out into new markets. So now we have social media storming into India as it emerges as an emerging market. And guess what? The Indian companies, they don't have quite the impulse control that our American companies do. And when you consider how low that is, it's shocking.
Brands are spamming WhatsApp users in India, Facebook's largest market.
Hey, look at that. This sender's not in your contact list.
It's basically like having someone always doing the MLM things, like, "Hey, girl, you want to buy some Jamberry nails?"
But instead of, that girl you went to college with, it's Pepsi.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That sucks.
Oh, look, they even have like all the emojis in the text too. It really is just an MLM scam.
Yeah. So they responded, and basically didn't apologize.
Sucks to suck. We're gonna keep doing it.
Sucks to live where you live. But the metaverse itself, the big thing, I guess the biggest criticism is anybody using it? And they immediately said this was not true, but I don't know. I kind of believe it.
It's lonely in the metaverse. DappRadar data suggests Decentraland, hopefully I said that right, has 38 daily active users in a $1.3 billion ecosystem. So this is the first time I read a story and thought the Neom City idea was really good, because
Oh no.
1.3 billion could build a heck of a utopia, and with 38 people living in a 1.3 billion utopia, I mean, that would just...
So these are Decentraland's numbers on October 7th. These guys did kind of cherry pick a little bit. They didn't count you unless you interacted with the contract somehow. If you're just a spectator and you're not actually doing anything, they don't consider you're a daily user. But in the business model, that kind of makes sense, right? Because if people are just hanging out there and not spending any money or not doing the contracts, you're just burning money to let them be there.
That's true.
Maybe they do ads. I don't know.
How annoying is that? You're trying to have an immersive experience and it's like, bing.
We're going to build a city and sewage infrastructure, but how will the citizens pay for the sewage and electricity infrastructure constantly by just existing in the city?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to sell that sewage to anybody. And Facebook, they were not explicitly responsible for this one, but their whole login with Facebook cancer is definitely part of it.
Facebook warns 1 million users whose logins were stolen by scam mobile apps. Company says Apple and Google have removed apps from their stores, but they shouldn't have been there in the first place. As we often say, it's like, oh, the Apple walled garden will protect you. No, it doesn't.
It's not there to keep them out. It's there to keep you in. And this is what you alluded to earlier. It turns out that the new Quest headset has internal facing cameras. Why would it need that? Well, they say it's to give your avatar realistic expressions, and reading that.
I don't even want that.
And it's definitely, oh yeah, for sure not. But it's definitely not so they can track your eye movement and tell when you're engaging with the advertising or not. It's definitely not that.
Meta's VR headset harvests personal data right off your face. And so this article, there's not any proof of this yet, but the previous headset that had an inward-facing camera was doing some really scary stuff in terms of, let's send a lot of telemetry about that to the server. And that's the only thing. We don't know what happened to it after the server, but the fact it was doing that.
Also, you're giving me a 2-hour battery life and you're adding this? How about we just not do that and I get more battery life? Wouldn't that be a better user experience? And I don't even care about this because we've already got this.
Yeah.
I don't like that they're giving it to you plebs.
YouTube's introducing handles with unique human readable URLs for every channel.
Why didn't they do this before is my question.
Because they hate their users.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be at, I guess, do you have to choose it or is it just going to be the channel name?
I think by default it's channel name, but you might be able to select one as well.
Yes, I already did ours.
There's a nice video to walk you through it. It used to be you needed 100 subscribers for them to even answer your email, considering that.
No, they won't even answer your email then.
Well, that's true. I don't know what I was thinking there.
They won't answer our emails. We have more than 100.
Now, you might be wondering, why is this in the social media section? And it's because it all started with a very poorly worded tweet.
JP Morgan Chase reportedly cuts ties with Kanye West. He's going to Bank of America. I've got some bad news.
Yeah, also not great.
PayPal. He said, I don't know exactly what the tweet was, but it was something anti-Semitic.
It wasn't just the one. There were several, but I think that was the tipping point, if you will.
He also tweeted something like, and I don't know, maybe this was a meme post that I got confused. Someone said it was like, "Hey Mary Doll," like the Tom Bombadil poem. And I was like, is he releasing Golden Yeez? I don't understand.
There's no way that he knows that reference because he admitted he never reads.
That's true. Maybe I got trolled by a meme post.
You know I don't read. That's insensitive.
Now, last month, he did say some bad stuff about Jamie Dimon personally, that could have been a factor here. They could have been waiting for a reason to get rid of him.
This man's losing it.
Wonder if it's like, Sir Kanye West said that you never call him. It's like, who?
Yeah. He's talking about 140 million. Jamie Dimon, what does he care about 140 million? He's like, oh, you're talking about money? I deal in power. I'm a power broker, little rapper. You don't play in my world.
There's also a part of me that like, I don't want to talk to bankers. Why would you want them to call you?
Yeah.
Because he's a power broker.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Kanye has got a little bit of the nouveau riche thing going on where he wants to be a part of that world, but they'll never accept him because he's an idiot.
Well, yeah, he's new money, not old.
Yeah, Krista, that's what nouveau riche is.
What is what's on the list for Friday?
We're going to start doing that joke every week.
Yeah.
It's robot, space, and nonsense. Mostly robots.
Who could have predicted?
Not me.
Oh, there's weird breakdowns of stories every week. I don't know.
Sometimes we do mess around with them a little bit, but
It usually depends
pretty
on what's.
constant.
I need the nonsense, please.
We got hot news about Fat Bear Week, so stay tuned for that. Bye.
Controversy.